Alrighty, the Score Esports has released a documentary
Faker
on
is
Faker. And as they said, like and subscribe,
because he
if
has
you want to
some
see
pain
the
in his arm. So
reactions
he's okay,
to stuff like
but
this.
they don't want to further complicate his medical condition. So we will be seeing the Challengers mid player Poby play in his stead.
Poor Poby,
Clean 2-0, very one-sided games. And I gotta say, Valdez, this one was not about Poby.
No.
And Fate here, he is.
Yeah, I've reacted to a bunch of league stuff. I've reacted to the Worlds games. If you want to check those out, those are on the channel. There's a playlist. I've reacted to all of the promos. I've been reacting to the T1 promos as well. So yeah, if you guys want to check that out,
He's going to take Zeus out just as a
subscribe
party
for more
gift.
League of Legends reactions. If you're here for the Faker thing, T1's also releasing a documentary on Gumayushi. So if you guys want to see that, I'm probably going to react to it in the next couple of days. So yeah, subscribe down below.
So hold on. So
that.
T1 just got 2-0'd. I think we really do see how important Faker is to T1. And man, I have no words.
As BDD moving on down, Hook is going to connect there onto Cuz. As now Carrier taking so much damage, he will be taken out. Poby as well is going to explode, and somehow it's another kill for the Vayne as well. As Owner is running away, BDD finds the flash incinerate. Look at how fast he's going. It's a double kill. What? Aiming's on 4 kills on Vayne at 6 minutes, making a triple. Oh, goodness me, it could not have gone worse for T1.
So I would say mostly a lot of confidence is gone, and yeah, maybe that's because their little Papa Faker ain't there. They don't have the Papa.
Now with Faker back in the starting lineup after 31 days, he's back after his wrist injury, but is he at 100%?
Glacial Prison comes in, aiming's going to be interrupted by Oda. Absolutely beautiful play. Now Carrion taking some damage, but the Featherstorm's going to save Gumayushi. Lahens has to go golden, and he's not going to be able to get himself out of it. Kane is going to be the first to go down in the fight, and T1 are just juggling the aggro gorgeously. Co's going to be the next victim here as T1 are looking for match point. They are looking for no mercy, and they want to head towards the final. They leave the Baron. There's a flash forward from Gumayushi. The cage is down. BDD avoids the Featherstorm, and
6 to 11, that was a good score.
Gumayushi grabs the double. The Nexus turret will be taken down, and T1 will deny the reverse sweep, and they'll meet Genji again tomorrow and qualify for the World Championship.
It's crazy how bad they were without Faker. The meme was that he controls everybody's micro and the whole game macro, but genuinely, like, it makes sense with how good Faker is and how long he's been playing like competitively at such a high level, right? That you have shot callers on the team. There's no point having a rookie 2T1 like Carrier or Owner be the shot callers, right? I think the way that T1 is structured is they can bring in these prodigious, is that the right word? These like prodigy talents, like Owner, Zeus, Gumayushi, Carrier. They can bring in like this whole roster of just really good players that have really good micro and build it around Faker's macro. And that's why he started playing, you know, things like Azir, Lissandra. Like, he doesn't play hyper carry mid laners to get like fucking millions of kills and solo kills and stuff. You usually see him play for the team. Even if he's just sitting in his lane playing, my understanding, if you could see, which they don't do anymore, but if you could see his player feed, he is probably looking at bot lane, looking at top lane. You know, he's seeing the lane states, he's seeing like what objectives are coming up, and he's probably controlling a lot of that game. Because like, he's played so many pro games. This is my understanding of it anyway. This is my theory. He's played so many pro games. It's like that thing where you're a shot caller. I mean, like, I've played Apex Legends, the shooter game, for a very long time. And when I've introduced new people to Apex, even if they're really good at like CSGO and stuff, you still make the shot calls. And you let them worry about like hitting the snipes and stuff. Whereas you look at the map and you make sure that your team is rotating in a correct position. And you have to factor in like, where's the good loot? Where did everybody land? Where does it seem like the teams are? Where's a good position for the next circle? Faker probably does. I don't play League, so I can't make those kind of comparisons directly. I've never played, but Faker probably does the same thing where he works out like, you know, which lanes are pushing, which lanes aren't pushing, where should my jungler go, who needs help, who's fine on their own to just scale. And he's probably making a lot of those calls. I mean, I'm sure this is easily provable because T1 releases comms, right? But I think they're edited comms, so maybe it's hard to see. But it seems like that's what he does. He's like the shot caller of the team, in my opinion.
All right, before we get into Faker's remarkable return, just a quick reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next
And also, same for Score Esports. You guys can go check out Score Esports. I'll link them.
great story that we're helping to tell. Cheers. T1's 2022 season ended in heartbreak. They lost a nail-biter of a final to DRX in the biggest match of the year, where the inexperience of their young roster really showed. But when fans and analysts started pointing fingers, a lot of the blame was put on the team's veteran and star, Faker. Many people believe that 2022 was Faker's last real chance at a world championship, and his failure to lead his team across the finish line left question marks looming over the entire roster's future. But despite this, T1 decided to stick together ahead of the 2023 season.
Yeah, they put together a new roster, mostly of rookies. Like, even if they weren't like completely fresh to League of Legends or LCK, they were like very fresh. They hadn't played for very long, is my understanding. I mean, a lot of them are very young. And in that sense, it's like why they made it to second best in the world and only got beaten by the DRX Miracle Run. Why would you change the team? Like, just run it back.
And once the spring split rolled around, they still looked like a top team.
That's going to be the end of Peanut, and these Nexus turrets are not long for the world. Another kill comes in. As
Man, when they used to
he
be
goes
Gen
back
Z,
to
that's
base
crazy.
and watches it explode. Chovy goes golden on the fountain. Faker's going to join him there right as the Nexus goes down. T1, 2-0 revenge.
Maybe they'll play with their food as well, looking for a little dive onto the fountain. They're trying to bait in Faker, and they will take down the Nexus in time. Bunch of good-natured buddies, as 16-1 is the final kill score as well. Easiest game for T1 as they skated to the victory.
Is now Def.
Wait, what was the score? 16-1. Oh my
T1
god.
as they
Casey had
skated to
come
the
up, didn't
victory.
As now Deft is bearing down the wrong direction here towards T1, who are just taking all of his stuff. Oh, Showmaker just thrown into the blender. Speaking of which, Gumayushi now under the turret. He's gonna die, but so is Deft, and the game is now done. T1 will wrap it up 2-1.
Faker's team dominated the spring group stage, only dropping a single match. And in playoffs, they kept up that form all.
They're spring scammers. Like, they went like, what, 14-0 in the first spring, and then they went 13-1 in the second spring with this roster.
the way to
like,
the grand finals,
absolute
but
scammers.
that was where they fell short.
As in front is the Zion. He's going to stand there, but look at this turret. It just evaporates. A massive Q from Doran.
I think they lost to Gen G before, in a playoffs before Worlds versus DRX, right?
And it is the man that played so well in games 1.
I mean, actually, let me just look, like, if they're gonna make these claims. T1. So T1. Tournament results. So with this current roster, oh wait, what? Oh right, they were SKT before this. So with the current roster, they had this roster here onwards. So they went 18-0, then they beat Gen G 3-1. Then they lost to RNG and MSI, 15-3, and they got 3-0 by Gen G. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. They got 3-0 by Gen G. No one's talking about that. They focused on the DRX thing, 17-1. I mean, still good. 18-0, 17-1. But then, yeah, they got 3-0 by Gen G, 3-1 by Gen G, 3-0 by Gen G. It's rough, and they lost to BLG and RNG and MSI. I mean, and DRX, what can you say? I mean, like, they've done very well. But this roster, the only time they've ever really won was their first split together. How crazy is that? That's the only time they've ever won something. And oh wow, they had the same roster just without Zeus before. When did they put that together? Well, they had Teddy and Gumayushi. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. So they put this roster together in 2021. They had Zeus, and then he fucked off. They had 3 junglers, and they had Closer and Faker. Wow, what the hell? Try out more things. I wonder what happened here, because they've got like Faker for a bit, and then they got Closer in here, and then they got Miryu. Like, what the hell happened here? Oh, that's for Casper, though, to be fair. Okay, yeah, I see. Anyway, yeah, this roster has only won, like, when they first came together with Ono, Faker, Guma, Keria. They won the regional finals to make it out to Worlds, so not very good. And then when they had Zeus, the whole roster, they won LCK Spring, going 18-0, and then they 3-1 Genji. But ever since then, they've just choked consistently. Look at this: 2-2-2-2-1, 2-3-5-2. And this 1 isn't for any prize. It's just like they did well in Spring. They went 17-1. Yeah. And this 3rd and 5th, oof, it's not looking good.
1 and 2, that's coming back here in game 3 to dominate T1.
But I mean, on the other hand, like, why would you change the roster, to be honest? Like, even if they lost to this week in quarterfinals, they made quarterfinals. If you put together a new LCK team, they might not make quarterfinals next year. But this team has made finals at MSI and Worlds in their first year, I think, right? With RNG. And then they've made top 8. They made like top 4 at Worlds, I think, at MSI this year. They've made top 8 at least at this year's Worlds. If not, they're probably going to make top 4 at the very least. So why would you not keep them together? Like, they will consistently be in the running, which is all T1 needs.
Down to his GA once again.
I don't, like, they probably want to win trophies, but would you rather, like, invest in a new roster that might be shit for, like, a year or 2 and then eventually, like, comes together and does well? Or, like, pay shit tons of money to, like, get Ruler or something? Or would you rather just keep this roster and keep running it?
Pays. He's down very, very low, but now the Nexus will be in the sights of
My camera
Genji.
moves, but only
they
if I
couldn't
move,
take
you know?
them down at all throughout the rest of it. And now, on the blood of T1, Pays has paved the golden road here in spring 2023.
And when Faker and T1 attended MSI, their form continued to crumble.
Wait, is Genji on the... No, because they didn't win MSI.
And as T1 forced to the lower bracket, JDG guarantees themselves the highest finish. They will be waiting in that grand final.
It was supposed to be EDG, it was supposed to be Genji, it was supposed to be T1, but here at MSI, BLG stands strong in defiance of all expectations. They move to the final.
Now, for most teams, a top 4 finish at MSI would be respectable, but this is Faker we're talking about. By his and T1's standards, this result was a disappointment. The team looked shaky, and some people began questioning whether Faker was holding back some of T1's younger stars. In the summer split...
Yeah, I fucking remember that. The story coming out of MSI was like, Faker needs to retire. I even heard some of my friends say Faker needs to retire, but like, when he left the team, holy shit.
T1 started strong, with 3 wins in their first 4 matches, but behind the scenes, Faker was struggling. After their win against Bryon, Faker began feeling some discomfort in his arm. He continued playing matches through weeks 3 and 4, but things turned from bad to worse. On July 5th, T1 announced that Faker's condition hadn't improved, so he went to a hospital to get it checked out. Fortunately, they didn't find any major issues, but the superstar mid laner was going to have to sit on the bench for a while in order to recover. So T1 called...
If they didn't find any issues, why did he have to sit out for so long? That's my question.
Poby up from their academy team to replace...
By the way, here's the real problem. They called up someone from their academy team, which sounds fine, but in LCK, there's LCK, Challengers, then Academy. They skipped over Challengers, which I think, fair enough. I genuinely think the player in Challengers did not want to step into Faker's shoes. So they had to go to Poby, but like, or maybe they just wanted the player in Challengers to keep winning Challenges. I don't think T1 did very well in Challenges, but yeah, they pulled up Poby from Academy. Like, he skipped challenges and went straight to LCK. Like,
Faker
it's
in
tough,
the meantime.
man.
Now, T1 has a long history of fielding incredible backup mid laners who developed in Faker's shadow. Some even thought that now was the perfect time for Faker to make way for a talented up-and-comer like Poby. But without Faker, T1 looked lost.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you actually sat down and talked?
2-0, very one-sided games. And I gotta say, Valdez, this one was not about Poby.
No.
And Fate here, he is going to take Zeus out just as a parting gift. Goodbye.
BDD moving on down. Hook is going to connect there.
Yeah, it wasn't
onto
really like
Cuz,
Poby's
as now
fault,
Carrier taking so much damage. He will be taken out. Poby as well is going to explode, and somehow it's another kill for the Vayne as well. As
Like,
Owner
Poby
is running away,
tried his
BDD
best. He
finds
just
the
wasn't-
flag. 4
we saw
kills
this at the
on
start. We saw
Vayne
this at
for
the start.
T1.
Poby
So I
just
would say
wasn't ready for
mostly
this,
a lot
you
of
know?
confidence is gone.
Is very upset.
And yeah, maybe that's because their little Papa Faker ain't there. They don't have the Papa.
The entire team looked disjointed. It felt like Zeus and Poby were constantly getting caught out, and Carrier wasn't playing like the clutch.
Yeah, I mean, Poby getting caught out is fair, but, like, Zeus getting caught out is what I'm saying. Like, without Faker to control the, like, lane state and stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous that I'm even saying that, because the individual players should be controlling their lane states and knowing not to push and get ganked. But I think Faker just has that map awareness and stuff. He's like that kind of a talent where, you know, if you put him on a team with, let's say, Doran, like you brought back Kanavi, you had Faker, and then you had Ruler, right? Faker would fucking play Giga Chad hyper carries in mid, and, you know, he would still probably do some macro calls and shot call the team fights and stuff. But like Kanavi and Ruler and, who did I say, Doran, Can, or whatever, would be able to control their own lanes and their own micro and the macro of the game. Like, but these rookies, I feel like these rookies just don't know what they're doing, and they're just relying on Faker's calls. You know, that's my take.
Player everyone knew he was. Now, it's no secret that T1 has struggled with nerves in the past, but Faker was always there to keep them calm when they needed it most.
But the nerves argument makes sense, but the nerves argument doesn't make sense in the context of like week 4 game against 7th place DRX when you're 2nd place. It makes sense when you're talking about MSI or Worlds, right? But when you're talking about like versing a 7th place team, like there shouldn't be nerves there.
Veteran presence was a big part of what helped them remain strong contenders in the past few years. 8 months prior, they were on the world's final stage. But without Faker, T1 was spiraling out of control. They had lost 7 of their last 8 matches and just barely secured a spot in the playoffs. And for an org as storied as T1, that simply wasn't good enough. They were a shadow of their former selves, and fans saw the whole situation as a disaster. Keep in mind that this is the same fan base that sent funeral wreaths to T1's headquarters back in 2020 and had publicly mocked their own players for not performing well. But despite the endless distractions that the team faced outside the server, they got a massive morale boost when Faker decided to return ahead of their Week 9 matches. T1 added that the decision was made based on medical advice, but some fans worried that Faker might be rushing back too soon. Nobody wanted to see him re-aggravate his injury, especially if T1 were...
I've said it every single time they've shown crowd shots, but I don't understand why it's such a thing in Asia of like covering the face. Like, you will never see someone in the crowd in an Asian audience of any of these LoL esports things where their face like this. It's always like this, or they got like a big thing over their face. Like
contenders for playoffs. But even though the fans weren't expecting much, T1 started to pick up some wins.
That's going to be the end of it, flashing on top of...
I mean, against
KD, and he just disappears as Faker will pick up another media vote on his way out. We are done here 2-0 as T1 will take down the series.
There's the Nature's Grasp. Will is going to flash, try and get himself out. His closer is kind of free hitting. There's an Emperor's Divide, but it's only on to Clear. Who dives forward?
Well.
Snip, everyone.
That
is going to be at least one of the kills, but it's only Faker that has fallen so far. Carrier limping away. There's a big old Q. Riot, are you here? And Zeus is going to be able to pick that one comfortably up, and Owner is just going to smash back Clear. This is gorgeous play from T1 as they split the aggro beautifully. Nice. The Nature's Grasp does come through.
Carrier with the double kill is so funny. Fucking Carrier 0-0-15 in this game as well.
Counter-Strike trying to work out the Dragon Rage kick is just fantastic. Kyle still manages to get in there. Emperor's Divide onto 2, but now that is not a tool that is left available. And Clear, we've seen this one before. Yeah, you might be able to kill him, but you're not even able to do that this time around as T1,
I don't even know
the third time of asking, will claim the Nexus and make it a 2-1 over Live Sandbox here today.
Faker didn't look outstanding, but T1 got the job done and ended the final week of the regular season with 2 wins, giving them some much-needed confidence heading into playoffs. Still, T1 outstanding.
Nexus.
I mean, he went 5-3 and 10. I mean, then again, Guma went 10-0-7 to be fair.
Much-needed confidence heading into playoffs. Still, T1 had a long way to go if they wanted to compete with the LCK's top rosters. Sure, they won a couple matches against some weaker teams, but playoffs are a completely different beast.
Death trying to find some autos, but look at that Q3, and Zeus will not be silenced. The Duskblade makes him untargetable, and Canyon is doing everything that he can to escape, but he's not going to be able to stop this Nexus from exploding as T1 look dominant in the later game and will take down D+, the first game of this best of 5 series. And it's a double once again. I think Zeus might get a POG for this particular game, as it's looking a little bit like a 3-1 for T1 as they take down the inhibitor. They'll take down the Nexus turrets, and they are moving on in the playoffs. Once again, it's a 5-game series, and once again, they're the team that comes out on top, unless that Whirling Death does way more than I expect, but it does not. Aiming's doing some damage here to Gumayusi, but the Nexus is the one that's going to go down, and T1, the underdog from 5th place, now up against 1st place. They take the win and stay in the upper bracket of playoff.
He's like, hey!
1st place, they take the win and stay in the upper bracket of playoffs.
Faker and T1 were beginning to look like themselves again, and their win against KT put them in the upper bracket final against Gen G with a spot at Worlds on the line. But Gen G were T1's kryptonite all season long, and Faker's team just wasn't ready for the Church of Chovy.
And it looks like Gen G will absorb the pressure and should be able to take down this game number 4. It's a clean ace to the side of Gen G, and they'll push down and bring us to Silver Screams.
Chovy pulls out some weird champions. Can we just point that out? Like, T1 went up 2-1, and Chovy pulls out the fucking Yone mid. I assume after Faker's already picked Azir. He did the same shit with G2. Like, he pulled out some weird fucking picks.
Ace to the side of Gen.
Like, it doesn't seem like he scrims these picks or anything, but Chovy's so good right now that they, like, put together a team composition, and they leave the mid laner pick till, like, mid or last, and he just pulls out some wacky shit that no one's expecting. Because a lot of the time they just play very clean, and Chovy's a player that plays very clean. Like, he will just play a regular mid laner, play for lane, play for CS, and then win late game. But then he pulls out some fucking Yone pick, and it's like, what the hell, or like a Carly.
Bring us to Silver
You know what I mean?
Screams.
I feel like he's actually
will continue on this path, though. They will
got a
take
really
down
good
the Nexus. It looks like it's Keria and Owner. They are so desperate as Gen G. Oh, here comes Guma, gonna take out pace. Doesn't matter. Gen G, they're going to the finals, and they have booked their ticket to Worlds.
He's also the first player ever in history to achieve 2,000 LP on the LCK server. I think he's currently sitting at 2,078, so that's really good. And he's hit 2,000 LP while every team in the world is there for Worlds. Like, he's not hit 2,000 LP against just Koreans. He's hit 2,000 LP against the best players from EU, NA, Brazil, China, Korea. Like,
and
you know
T1
I mean?
fell to Gen G in a close-fought series, but they still had one last chance to qualify for Worlds. And even if Faker still wasn't fully recovered, missing out on Worlds would be unthinkable. He'd never made it to Worlds in his home country, failing to do so twice before. If he missed the big stage in Seoul again, it would only add more fuel to the fire for his haters. So this time, he wasn't going to let his opportunity escape him.
I can't make a point,
yeah, Owner is going to twist and advance forward. BDD's going to flash away. Sapling is down, but it shouldn't find him. Faker's already flashed over, shifts the sands. BDD tries to slow him down, but it does not work. It is going to be the Baron secured. Can KT escape? Is the question. Nature is grasping, and Gumayushi's going to press the ult button. There's the cleanse as well. It's beautiful, and BDD's going to be taken down. The Singed also dead as Keen's just trying to keep him busy. It's It's a double now, and Gumiyushi's just trying to keep them here. They're celebrating on the enemy Nexus at the end of game one. Look at these extendo beams from Gumiyushi. Having a day out on the Zeri here in this one. They take down the remaining turret. Yeah, Carrier is going to suffer a death. It's his first one for the series, though. We'll give it to him. And T1 victorious in game number one. Glacial Prison comes in. Aiming's going to be interrupted by Ona. Absolutely beautiful play. Now Carrier taking some damage, but the Featherstorm's going to save Gumiyushi. Lehens has to go golden, and he's not going to be able to get himself out of it. Kane is going to be the first to go down in the fight, and T1 are just juggling the aggro gorgeously. Ko's going to be the next victim here as T1 are looking for match point. They are looking for no mercy, and they want to head towards the final. They leave the Baron. There's a black forward from Gumiyushi. The cage is down, but he avoids the Featherstorm, and it does not matter. Gumiyushi grabs the double. The Nexus turret will be taken down, and T1 will deny the reverse sweep. And they'll meet Genji again tomorrow and qualify for the World Championship.
Faker and T1 fended off the reverse sweep and managed to close out the lower finals and qualify for Worlds. They may have fallen to Genji in the grand finals, but after a year where some people questioned whether Faker still had what it took, he silenced all of his doubters. And that's why so many people consider him the GOAT. After a summer filled with pain and frustration, Faker showed us that he's still the glue that holds T1 together.
사실 로드컵은 어디서 열리든 크게 상관은 없지만 그래도 한국에서 한국 팬분들이 응원해주시는 그런 무대에서 경기를 하는 거는 굉장히 색다른 경험이고 좋은 경험일 것 같아서 기대하고 있습니다.
T1 may not be coming into Worlds as the favorites, but they're certainly contenders. And after a season where nearly everything was against them, that's already a remarkable achievement in and of itself. This year might be Faker's last real chance to lift the Summoner's Cup on home.
Yeah, I wonder if he retires
next year. With the unkillable Demon King in the server, it seems like just...
They were talking about him retiring last year, and then it made sense that he stuck around because Worlds was going to be in Korea, and they're like running back the same roster. But I don't know if he would want to run back the same roster a third time. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they'll make some changes and keep Faker around, like they'll bring in Ruler or some more Kanavi. Make like a Korean super team. But I don't know, like I feel like he's probably there. It hasn't been that much talk about it, but I feel like that is kind of the time when you retire. Like there's no talk about it. There was talk about it last year, and now Worlds is in Korea, so he stuck around. But
just about anything
after this,
possible.
what else is there? Like I can't see him saying to himself, I've played Worlds Korea, but I want to wait until the next one in 4 years when I can play Worlds in Korea again and win. Like, he probably wants to win this Worlds and win in Korea, get his 4th win, and get it in Korea. But if he doesn't win, is he going to stick around to play in Paris next year or wherever it is? Like, I can't see it happening. But you never know. I mean, he's old, but maybe he sticks around. Like, is he almost 30? He's 27. He's going to be 28 next year, though. So maybe it's time to hang it up. Dude, look how big his hands are. No wonder he's good. Holy shit. Yes, that was the Faker video. Subscribe if you guys enjoyed that. I'll be watching the Gumiyushi documentary at some point and more T1 content. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned by subscribing for that. Faker says, do it.